Hello everyone, this is Shashank here. I hope my screen is visible to everyone. Take it folks, can you please confirm it to me? Keshav, am I audible? Okay, great. So the agenda for this webinar is first we'll discuss what are projects. We'll look at the project characteristics. We'll see how projects are important and how we can identify projects. And then we'll go forward and we'll see why actually do we need to manage projects. What's the whole benefit of managing projects. We'll try to see a difference between projects, tasks, and our activities. We'll also look at project management versus project management tools. We'll then look at project organization. I'll briefly introduce you to Prince2, try to give you a rough overview of Prince2 using a mind map or a process model, so to speak. And then I'll give you a brief introduction to projects, programs, and portfolios, and why are they critical for any organization. So let's go ahead with the agenda. So what are projects? What do you understand by projects? Now, project, as the definition says, Project is a temporary organization that is created for the purpose of delivering one or more business products according to an agreed business case. Now, the critical aspects here are temporary organization, business products, and agreed business case. So, at the very start, somebody has an idea. They have an idea to implement an objective, to implement an output, which is going to give you some kind of outcome, and going forward it would help you realize the benefits arriving from those outcomes. So let's say you are at point A and you want to go to point B. There's some kind of change that you'll be having as an attribute. You'll definitely be taking some time to go from point A to point B, and there'll be some more characteristics. But is that really a project? Let's first of all see what are the characteristics of a project and what will help us identify project and the need for managing the project. So projects, basically they'll involve change. There'll be some kind of change. Project will always be attributed by change. Now, a change cannot be permanent. It has to have a start time. It has to have an end time. At least some definitive approximation about when you'll start the implementing particular change, and approximately by when you can finish implementing the change, so that the output can be utilized by the end user and the benefits can be realized. Projects are cross-functional. They will involve different diverse skill sets spanning across divisions, or maybe different organizations, or maybe different teams. So projects, in essence, they are cross-functional. Now, every project is unique in some way. Every project is unique in some way. Either they may be unique in the skill sets that are being used in the team which is managing the project, or the change itself is unique, or the time, the start time, the end time, the timeline for the project is unique in some way. So every project has to be unique. No two projects are same in essence. Now, because of these characteristics, because you are implementing a change, people don't like change. Anybody wouldn't like to change from what they are usually doing. Because you have a start time and you have an end time, you might lapse the timeline, because the team is cross-functional, there could be gelling issues, or there could be some kind of uncertainty within the team. Because of these characteristics, projects are really uncertain. You don't know whether the benefits would be realized, or will the benefits on actuals as planned would be achieved or not. So projects are uncertain, unique, cross-functional, they have a definitive time, and they involve a change. Keeping these characteristics in mind, let's try to differentiate between projects, tasks, and activities. Now, projects can have many tasks and activities which are part of the project, but project themselves, they are not task or an activity. Task is basically it's a responsibility given on one-to-one basis, but the project needs a lot of planning. A project would require a lot of accountability. A project would require a lot of authority, and that is what differentiates projects from task or an activity. So task or an activity can be looked upon more like a business as usual, or something that you would do according to a well-defined process within the business scope. But the project is more towards transforming the business itself and giving birth to set of more well-defined tasks and activities which would be later on part of a process. Now, task can be a change at a smaller level. It can definitely be something like, if I have to give you an example, changing a firewall rule, it's also a change. But is it really a project or a task? It can be a task within a well-defined process of a networking team within an infrastructure division, or maybe some other activity which a division within the business as usual or the organization team would do on a day-to-day basis as part of business as usual. They would also involve time, but it's not as per a plan. It's per a defined process that the particular task would involve implementation. Are they really cross-functional? Tasks are basically given are accountable. The accountability is assigned on a one-to-one basis. So basically, one person would be performing a task within the scope of the task itself. Tasks are usually they are similar in nature, and there's a certain output that you're looking for. There's a certain benefit, if I may say so. There's a certain output that you're looking at from a task. So in a sense, there can be multiple tasks which can be part of a project or a process or a business as usual. So knowing the characteristics of projects would help us define why projects are really important and critical for any organization. Now, organization on a day-to-day basis, they would be doing things to achieve profits, to maintain customer relations, to maintain brand loyalty, and for many other aspects of their day-to-day operations, which we can term as business as usual. So this is one aspect of any organization that they would do on a daily basis. But the second thing that the organization would be aggressively looking at, the competition, the change in the market, the acceptance in the market, something which they would have to improvise on to maintain, to upskill business as usual. So it can be in terms of technology, it can be in terms of regulation, maybe a government regulation saying that this particular thing needs to be changed as per regulation. Or there can be some social aspect for which they may need to transform the way they do business. So something which we can term as business transformation. In essence, the organization would try to maintain these two parallel imperatives during their life. They would try to have a balance between business as usual and business transformation. So business transformation is what we achieve by implementing projects. And business as usual, a project may result in a new process which might become a part of business as usual. So why do we actually need to manage projects? Because of these characteristics that are change, time, cross-functional, unique, and uncertain, we let's see if we can really come to a conclusion that the critical aspect of project being management itself. So as a project involves change, there should be an accountability for that change. There should be one person who should be accountable for change. The person who has envisioned some benefits, he needs to have someone take the accountability for that business change and help deliver the benefits to the end user. If something goes wrong, they should be accountable for it. If something goes right, they should be accountable for it. So there should be a definite accountability within that change. There should be authority. Now a change cannot be implemented overnight. A business change cannot be implemented overnight. The person who has accountability, or the team within the team which is going to manage the change, complete change, at each level of this particular change, maybe at the level of direction, people who are giving directions to the change, people who are managing the change, and people who are delivering the change. There needs to be appropriate authority at each level. The person who is going to supply the resources to the change, the person who is going to do the change, and the person who is going to use the change. The person who is going to use the change should have authority to commit on what is being expected. The person who is going to supply the resources to the change should have authority to confirm that the resources would be supplied. The person who is delivering the change should have authority to delegate things. So there needs to be appropriate authority at each level within the change, managing this particular change, business change. There needs to be credibility, and people should really believe what you're saying. If the supplier is saying that the particular resource would be provided within this timeline, but the history of that supplier is that he is not really credible in the market, it doesn't make any sense to have such a person within the project management team or the change team which is implementing the particular change. There should be good amount of credibility for the people who are going to be part of this particular business change. Now, you may plan a change. You may you envision to do something. You will plan against it that this is how we are going to do this. If I have to go from point A to point B, I'll be using a car, I'll be using a bus, I'll be walking to point B. You start planning. Now, when you plan something, there are times when things will go as you have planned. But what if they are not going as per your plans? You will be exerting some kind of control to bring it under your planned schedule or planned the way you have planned. You will be exerting some kind of control. Control is very critical in a project because it will help you plan for future. It will help you plan your risks. It will help you plan multiple stages on the product delivery. Control is critical aspect within the project. The change needs to be controlled. The flow of change needs to be controlled. The acceptance of change needs to be controlled. The benefit that is going to be provided by this particular change needs to be controlled. Now, one question within any project is what is going on? Did we start on time? Are we going to end on time? Who's doing what? So communication is very critical aspect in a project. People inside the project management team, part of project management team, need to be well informed. The stakeholders, maybe they have direct influence on the project or the change, or people who do not have direct influence on the project. They also need to know what is going on inside the project. We usually hear that communication is the biggest aspect which is the biggest reason for failure of any project. Let me give you an example here. Now, let's say you have a team which is subcontractor for providing infrastructure management to one of the end clients, and there's a direct vendor for the end client, something like, let's take an example of AT&T. Now, AT&T is the key accountable company for providing these services to the end client. AT&T might subcontract a third-party vendor to actually execute this. Now, you are spanning this particular process into three organizations: the end customer, our example AT&T, and the third entity being the subcontractor. Now, there needs to be proper communication channel, and there needs to be proper update going on across each level and up each level to let them know what is happening and how things are happening. Now, if there's a change which has been executed by the subcontractor and contractor, and AT&T is not at all aware of it, maybe a future change, maybe a future aspect of the change which is going to be dependent on this change is going to create loopholes, and maybe which may result in a failure at a project level within AT&T. So there needs to be proper communication on what is going on. Another example that I can take up here is Airbus A380. I'm pretty sure all of you must be aware of what is Airbus A380. Now, from a general perspective, it might seem that Airbus A380 was a huge success, but in project terminology, Airbus A380 was a huge failure. Now, the project itself, the Airbus A380 project itself, it was being thought of to close the project. So it was at that level, the failure was at that level, and the basic reason for failure of this particular project was communication. Now, Airbus A380 assembly was to be done at a central location, but the parts were being produced at different locations in different continents altogether. Now, there was a software tool, which was being used at these different locations, and they were in different languages. Now, how this made the difference was in the measurements. Now, the software which was being used at location A was still using the older version of the software, and the software which was being used at the location B was using the newer version of the software. And there was a difference in the measurement, very slight difference in the measurement. Now, when the parts were finally brought together in central location for assembling, they were not fitting together because the measurements were not in sync. Now, imagine in a project like that, if one screw is not in place, what would it mean when the product is finally being delivered? So this whole project cost Airbus about 8 to 9 billions in losses, and the project at the end of the day, project overshot the timeline. The project overshot the budgeting aspect of the project. There was a cost overshoot, and finally this whole project had to be reinitiated, replanned, and the software update had to go on. So this project was really a failure in terms of cost, in terms of time. The product was delivered, but with these failures. So a project is not really a success if you deliver the product and the product can be used. A project can fail on multiple aspects. We'll look at that, how a project can fail. So if the team is not aware of what is going on inside the project, it can definitely lead to failure within the project. Ideally, if these things are not being taken care of within a business change, that is change, accountability, authority, credibility, and the communication aspect of the business change, we are essentially going towards a failure within the project. So, what is project management and what is project management tool? Now, knowing how to use Gantt charts, knowing how to use any scheduling tool within a project is not project management. Now, you can go from point A to B You might decide on using a car, you might decide to take a walk, you might decide to take a bus. But what if I were to tell you, you have to go from point A to point B, but first you have to go to point 1, then you have to go to point 2, then you have to go to point 3, you have to go to point 4, and then finally you have to reach point B. Now, a car wouldn't know how to do that. A car is simply a medium which you can use to go from point A to B, and it is only going to make it a faster thing. It would help you save time. So it can only add on to what you are about to do. So what you are about to do is something which is a planned process, a planned change. There is a definitive time. So the process itself is born how things are planned. The medium that you use, like Gantt charts, any other scheduling tool, it's just going to make it simple for you. It's not actually project management. They are just a set of tools which help you manage projects. They don't manage projects for you, right? So how does a project organization look? Now, a project organization, basically the person who has an idea, who wants this to be implemented, maybe we can call that person sort of project sponsor for now. He is going to ask you, here's the idea, I want you to implement this. He is going to provide you the funds for the project. A project sponsor would basically be looking for a project manager who is going to manage the project on a day-to-day basis for the project sponsor, who is going to deliver the products of the project, and the product which are being delivered, they'll help achieve the benefits which are being expected. Now, in this type of organization, a project manager would on a daily basis interact with suppliers, the users, and he'll be breaking his head almost for everything within the project, talking to user and the supplier. User would be telling this is what I'm expecting. Supplier would have his own interest within the project. He might come with his own issues. So he's handling issues across the levels and vertically above with the project sponsor and below at the delivery level. So project manager would also be taking care of delivery, or maybe delegating things to the delivery team to deliver the products of the project. Now, in this kind of an organization, understand this part of the project, wherein project manager is constantly interacting with the user for knowing what is being expected, and also fighting the issues at that level wherein maybe user is coming up and saying, hey, I want you to add this as well. Maybe you can do this as well. Maybe you can do that as well, right? So a lot of his time is going in things which is not expected of him. At the supplier level, definitely there are going to be some issues coming in. So he is investing a lot of time with the supplier, which he should not ideally be doing. So his time, which should go towards managing the day-to-day aspects of the project, which will contribute to the success of the project, he is having less time to do that activity, right? So this type of project organization has this has a severe issue within the project management. But what could be an alternative to this? Probably we can have something like this. There is a project owner, the person who has envisioned to do something, who feels that if we do this, this is really going to benefit us. So he says, let's appoint a project owner. I'm sorry, I said project owner, project sponsor. Let's appoint a project owner who is going to be one person responsible for the project. If the project fails, he is the person who should be shot. If the project is success, he should be appreciated. And he would definitely, when I say he would be appreciated, the project team as a whole should be appreciated. Now, the project owner would appoint a project manager to manage the tasks on a day-to-day basis. Now, this person would ask the project manager to interact with the delivery team and make sure that the products of the project are being delivered. Now the project owner is also responsible to talking to the supplier and also talking to the user. Now all these three entities, the user, the project owner, and the supplier, let's say if I put them on a team, which is something like called the managing board within a project, they would together talk to project manager. Project manager would know the expectation from the user side within the project, within the managing board. He would know the business interest by talking to the project owner, and he would know the supplier interest by talking to the supplier within the project. Now, the project manager has more time which he can invest on day-to-day management of the project, and any issues that are arriving at the level of user and supplier can be if they can be handled within the managing board, good enough. If not, there are different entities within the project organization and this kind of organization which can help resolve together with the project manager. So end of the day, project manager would not be responsible to take care of the supplier issues and the user issues at the managing directing level of the project. So in this scenario, project manager has more like a freedom of thought, and he is much more capable of handling day-to-day management aspects of the project, and it gives him more confidence in managing the project, and it can definitely be a factor which can add to success of the project. Or upscale the success of the project. So this kind of an organization would definitely help cater to the political aspect of the project, and would also help managing the success of the project and controlling the success of the project. So this organization is basically what we see in a lot of frameworks today, and one such framework is Prince2. So I'll be discussing Prince2 framework very briefly to see to tell you how the framework really works and how it can help manage the projects. So this is how Prince2 is. This is basically a mind map or a process model. Now, if you see on the top left corner, I'm sorry, I don't have a pointer, so you'll have to bear with me. There is some idea. Now, the organization, the top box, the pink color box, corporate or program management, they have some idea. Now, this basically becomes a project mandate, that this is the reason why we want to do this. So if we do this, it will help us achieve this benefit, or would help us refine our process, something like that. So this project mandate is basically provided to a person, the project owner, as we had a look a few minutes back. The project owner or executive, so to speak, he gets the project mandate from the corporate organization, the organization. Now he knows that what is that these people they are trying to achieve, and what is that they are expecting me to do. So he would appoint a project manager to do this on a day-to-day basis. Now, a project manager there's a pre-project process in which project manager will do a lot of things, like he'll see if he can learn some lessons from previous projects. Now, it is always good to learn lessons. It can help you avoid mistakes in future, or maybe mistakes that you might otherwise do just now, maybe doing something what you're doing right now. So project manager would try and see if he can capture previous lessons. He'll see what kind of project management team does he require. Does he require team manager to take care of the delivery, or he can play the role of the team manager? He would decide whether do we need a change authority, we need a project support, we need some kind of assurance, so something like that. So he'll see what kind of project management team is required to manage this change, and he'll give a design to the executive. Executive will see and approve the particular design, and the project management team would be appointed. Now, after the appointment of the project management team, the project mandate is refined a bit, and we try to make an outline business case. Now, outline business case is that this is what we are trying to achieve, and this is the benefits. These are the benefits that we'll get if we do this. So, an outline business case is prepared, and then an approach is selected. I want to go from point A to point B. I'll be using a car. I'll be walking to point B. I'll be using a bus. So an approach is selected, how the project will be approached. And then there is something called a file into which all these things are assembled. So for now, you can just know the name of that file. It is called project brief. So people they get all the information into a file. The project manager assembles all these information into a file and gives it to the higher level for approval. Okay, now we have something concrete that we can achieve by this project. Is it a good idea to go ahead? Do you give me the approval? So he'll assemble a project brief and give it to the project board, and he'll also plan what he's going to do in the next stage, right? So basically, this is what we have to achieve, and this is my plan how we'll achieve this. So we submit a plan. Now he'll request, shall I go ahead? He'll give those documents to the next level to see if he can go ahead. So what is the next level? Now next level is basically directing the project. They are helping, they are giving a direction to the project. Now this is where your project owner or executive, so to speak, who along with the supplier and the user will be sitting at this level, giving a direction to the project. So that is how project manager is independent of interacting with suppliers and the users directly. So a lot of his time is saved here, and a lot of his issues are saved here. A lot of political aspects within a project are saved here. So based on the submission of project manager, they'll decide, should we really go ahead? Whatever he's saying can really be achieved. The benefits can really be achieved, and it is good enough reason to go ahead. So either they will go ahead or they'll ask not to go ahead. So if they give the authority to go ahead to actually implement the change, project manager will now start planning the project. In a sense, he'll start planning the strategy for risk, how the project will handle risk, what is the appetite for risk. He'll start planning the quality, how we are going to take care of quality. Now customer is expecting this. How do we make sure that we don't give him something which he's not expecting at all, or something which he's expecting but with attributes which we are not able to give. So he has to plan quality. He will also have to plan how issues and changes are going to be handled within a project, how products are going to be managed within the project. So he's basically going to strategize the configuration management, and most important of them all, he is going to plan the communication, how the communication will be managed. Then he is going to open lots of registers like risk register. You can look at them like a log. He would open risk log, issue log, quality log alongside these strategies, which will help him manage issues, risks, and quality on a day-to-day basis. He will set up project controls. Now, what are controls? You wish to do something, you have plan against it, so you are also planning your controls. If this happens, how will I control this? If this happens, how will I control this? Right? So, for example, this session is going on. Now, within the session, if somebody has a question, they might be definitely sending those questions to Keshav or to the tech team, and they'll be sending those questions across to me. Now, the chat window is a control within the session which is helping us resolve queries or address queries. So in a project, there can be multiple project controls that will help you manage the project on a day-to-day basis and keep the project under control. You would then create a project plan that Now, project plan cannot be refined at this stage. It cannot be a definitive plan at this stage. So there will be a lot of assumptions going in. Probably this is the amount of time that would be required. This is the cost that would be required. All these things. So it is, most of it is assumption. It is only going to be refined as we go ahead within the project. Now, in the previous stage, we had outline business case, not definitive business case. So we try to refine it. We try to come up with a detailed business case with the actual expected benefits, disbenefits, the cost, all these things. So we try to refine the business case. A business case is very critical because it will give the project, the directing level, the owner, supplier, and the user. It will give them a fair amount of idea. Should we be investing this kind of money? Should we go ahead with the project? Should we invest more money? So business case is very critical. There should be justified reason to implement this, and that justified reason is the business case. In the previous stage, we assemble a file called project brief. So it's a good idea to assemble more and more files. So let's try to assemble another file. This time we'll call it project initiation documentation. Now, in short form, you can call it PID. In PID, you will have all these strategies. You will have the business case. You'll have the controls, the project plan, all these things. Now, this PID is going to be a contract between the directing level of the project and the project manager. That this is what I'll do. This is how I'll do. Do you approve this? Do you want me to go ahead? If you say so, I will. Right? So he'll send us along with something which needs to be approved by the project. The directing level of the project. I'm so sorry. I'm again and again trying to use the terms of Prince 2, but I'm trying to avoid that. So it's basically called project board, but I don't want to use that term. I just don't want to confuse a lot of audiences. I believe there are lots of freshers within this session, so I want to keep it very simple, and I hope I'm able to achieve success doing that. So the project board, directing level of the project will need a plan how we are going to proceed ahead. Now, you would argue, we already have a project plan. But let me ask you, if you stand on the road, you can only see to an extent. Probably you can see, at max, you can see 1 kilometer ahead, what lies ahead of you, probably 1 kilometer. But you cannot see beyond that. There's a horizon to which you can see. Similarly, in planning, there is something called planning horizon. Now, you don't want to plan something in one go and go wrong everywhere. So let's have assumptions overall, and let's try to make it break it down into smaller plans. So we call it a stage plan. Now, the stage wherein he has the project manager has prepared all these strategies and everything, he would now prepare the next stage plan. That what is that we are going to do now. He, along with the stage plan, that is the next stage, what we'll do in the next stage, what products we'll deliver in the next stage, how will I report to you within the next stage, how frequently will I report to you within the next stage, right? He will put in all those details and submit to the directing level and seek an approval if he can continue. So again, he'll send all these documents. Actually, I shouldn't call them documents, but just for your understanding, he'll send all these documents along with request to deliver the project now. We have done all the assessment, we have done all the research work, we have enough reason to do this particular change, we have enough business reason to do this change. So do you want to go ahead? Do you really want me to go ahead? So the directing level of the project, they would go through what has been submitted, and if they see enough reason, they will give an approval, or they may say that no, there's not enough, there's no reason for us to go ahead. I think we would just end up wasting money. So let's not go ahead, let's not invest more money into this. So they would say, please close the project. So this is called premature closure because there's not enough reason, not enough business reason to do this particular, to implement this particular change and deliver the products. So the project manager would say, fine, I'll close the project. But if the project is approved, there would be authorization for the next stage, wherein the project management team or the managing and delivering level of the project together, they would start delivering the products of the project. Now, based on approval from the project manager would authorize a work package. Now, what is a work package? Work package can be visualized as something like, let's say you want to build a phone or make a phone. So within a phone, there would be a memory chip, there would be a keypad, there would be lots of things, right? So you cannot start making a phone in one go altogether. So probably you would say, okay, first I'll make a keypad, first I'll make a memory chip first, and then I'll make a SIM card slot, and I'll decide on ringtones. So you are breaking down the product into multiple products. Now, you can decide which product is being going to be delivered in which stage, how it is going to be approached, and how the overall product is going to be approached. Now, that one product within a stage, let's say the keypad within the stage, can again be broken down into multiple work packages, or it can be delivered as one single work package. So a work package can be a product within a stage, or it can be part of or component of a product within a stage. So that's a work package. Work package basically goes from managing level to the delivery level, where the delivery level is going to work on the work package and deliver it to the managing level, which is the project manager. So he'll authorize the work package, and while the work package is being worked upon, he'll continuously review them. Once completed, he'll receive them, and during this stage, he'll review how the stage is doing. Are we doing good enough? Do I see any issues that needs to be taken care of? Okay, it's time for me to report to the directing level of the project. I need to update them with what has been going on, how things have been going on. I need to update them. He'll be capturing some new issues coming in and trying to resolve those issues. He'll escalate if required. Now, when he's escalating something or he is reporting something, he might also get some advice from the directing level of the project. So he'll try to take some corrective action within his authority. Now, if he has authority to take corrective action, he would he would do so. But if he's not within his authority level, he would have to do something about it. And basically, what he's going to do is he's going to raise an exception. Now, exception is, I want you to do this, but I want you to do this within this authority. If you breach your authority, that's not good. I'm going to shoot you. So, the moment project manager or any member within the project management team, if they foresee that there's a situation wherein they can exceed their authority level, they need to raise an exception to the higher up. So that is what project manager would do here. It's a principle of Prince2, managed by exception. Probably, I mean, you can find more information about it, or if you want to know more about it, we can. I mean, you can find it online, or you can always get in touch with us. And based on the work package authority that is to be delivered, the managing product delivery or the delivery level of the project management team, which is team manager, he'll accept the work package, he'll execute them, and he'll deliver. Now, if he sees some new issues and risks coming in, he'll report them to the project manager, and project manager will do his own evaluation and see what best can be done. Now, within this particular stage, wherein the project manager is managing the stage, it will come to an end. Now, he's also doing something which has to have at least some definitive start time and some definitive end time. So it will come to an end. So what do you do when you approach the end of a stage? You, I'm sorry, this is going for an advice and all those things. We have already discussed this. So if you are coming towards the end of a stage, you would basically be approaching the stage boundary. So when you are approaching a stage boundary, you need to plan for the next stage. There cannot be dead air within the project. Because we are approaching end of a project, we need to plan how we are going to implement the next stage, what products we are going to deliver in the next stage, and how things will be managed in the next stage. And if any recommendations that need to go in the plan for the next stage, we'll do so in this particular stage, that is managing a stage boundary. And then we update the project plan. Because why do we update the project plan? Because there were lots of assumptions. The plan that we had prepared initially, they have a lot of assumptions in them. They are not on actuals. So now we have completed some stage of a project. We are in a position to see if there is a possibility to change our assumptions into actuals. We have incurred this cost, so it's a good idea we update the project plan on actuals. Update the business case, definitely, if you have achieved some benefit which you were expecting within the stage. Any new benefits, any risks to the project, all these things. So a business case would be updated. We report the stage in that the stage is ending now. We are in a position to start the next stage. So all these things, they'll go in the managing a stage boundary, that is managing how you are going to end this particular stage and approach the next stage. And you send the appropriate documents to the project board, based on which they'll either approve the next stage, or they'll ask you to close the project because the business case is no more justified. If this is the final stage within a project, if this is a final stage in the project, you don't need to plan the next stage. There's no stage after this. This is the final stage. So you don't go to stage boundary, but you see something called project end approaching. So when you see that the project end is approaching, you need to do things. You cannot just close the project. I mean, you cannot just close the registers, and you cannot just close everything and say the project is over. No, we need to do a few things here. We need to do a plan closure. If this is a normal closure, we need to do a plan closure. If this is requested by the directing level of the project, that the project needs to be closed because we don't have enough reason, that is a premature closure. So you prepare the premature closure. Now you will hand over some products, whether it is if it is plan closure, definitely. If it is a premature closure, now let's say you were working on something, but now you have been asked to close the project. There might be a situation where you started working on the keypad of the phone, but you have not completed it. But you feel that in future, if the organization or if any entity wants to do a project, similar project, they might require this project, or maybe this project, this product can be refined and can be used within the scope of business as usual. So you would like to hand over those products as well, but with some follow-on actions that are required. Because this product is not complete, you might require to add, require to invest so much more cost or so much more time to complete this product. So you hand over the products, you evaluate the project. Now, how do you evaluate? You had lots of assumptions in the project plan. Now you have another version of the project plan which is on actuals. Now you compare both of them. You evaluate where you stand from where you started. Similarly, for the business case, for the benefits, for the cost, for the time, all these things, to evaluate the project performance. How did we perform in the project? And after doing all this, you recommend the project closure. Based on your recommendation, based on the project manager's recommendation and evaluation, the directing level of the project, they would authorize the closure, and they would send the notification to the organization that the project is complete or the project has been closed prematurely because there is not enough business reason to do so. So they would definitely notify the organization, the highest level within the project management structure. They will notify them, and the project would be closed. So this is This is how Prince2 as a framework works. Now, if you try to reevaluate what we have discussed, uh, I think you would be able to argue on a fact that all this uh, in the complete process, a management tool, scheduling tool is only going to help you do this maybe in a much faster way, uh, maybe in a more efficient way, but it cannot do all this for you. This the each stage, the each step within this framework has to be done by somebody, by an individual. In doing so, he may take help of lots of project management tools or scheduling tools or internal tools or internal strategies, uh, other set of frameworks for managing quality and all those things. So that is how a framework definitely works within a change which is unique and uncertain and is cross-functional. So using a framework definitely helps within a project. I think there are some questions. I'll see if I can answer them right now, or maybe I just have one more section to cover, and if we can do this at the end of that section. Oh, there are lots of questions. Okay, what I'll do is there's a small section. I'll just cover that, and then we'll go straight for questions. So all what we have been discussing until now is a project. That's what we've been discussing until now. Now we saw that project is going to deliver an output, which is going to give you some kind of an outcome. Now, outcome itself is not what you're trying to achieve. The project is trying to achieve a benefit, or it is trying to help you be in a position wherein you can achieve benefits. But the project cannot wait for the benefits to be realized. I mean, there can be some benefits which will be realized during the life of the project, but there will also be benefits which may be realized maybe 1 year down the line, 2 years down the line, so on. So project cannot be kept open until all the benefits are realized. So either you leave it on the user to confirm that the benefits are being realized, or you have something called program. Now, program is basically where you manage similar set of projects which are working differently, delivering different outputs. Together, they are trying to achieve one common goal, right? That becomes part of a program. Now, program will take the outputs or the outcome from all these projects and make sure that the benefits are realized, right? So it becomes a responsibility of the program. So it is trying to achieve those benefits which will at the organization level help you achieve your strategies. So basically projects become part of program, and multiple programs which are trying to achieve one objective in terms of the strategy of the organization, they become part of the portfolio. Now, it doesn't mean that the portfolio program and projects have to be at the organizational level. It can be at the divisional level or the functional business unit level as well, right? So maybe for a very large organization, it can be within divisions, within HR division, within IT division, so on and so forth, or multiple business units. Or for a smaller organization, but not that small, you can have portfolio at the organization level, program, and then projects. And how this all starts is basically there's a maturity level while we are doing all this. You don't start with the portfolios right away. Basically, you start managing projects, but now you see that these projects are trying to achieve common benefits or common outcome, so you put them under program. Now, similar programs would try to achieve a strategy, so you say that, okay, it's a good idea to set up a portfolio. initially for smaller organizations, it is bottom-up approach, and for a very large organization, it is top-down approach, or it can be bottom-up approach again. But the idea is, it all starts initially bottom-up, but later on in the life of the organization, this would transform into top-down. So first, let's say if the maturity level is higher, maturity level of the portfolio, program and project is higher within an organization would decide a new strategy. So they would see a need for a portfolio to implement the strategy to achieve the strategic objective. Now the portfolio would see a need of a program which will help them achieve these strategies by means of benefits. Now program would help them identify right projects which are required to achieve these benefits. So that is how it transforms from bottom-up approach to top-down approach. So these are projects, programs, and portfolio. Now OGC has set of frameworks to help you to help you do these portfolios, programs, and projects in a much established way and in a process. The frameworks for projects that OGC has is Prince2, and otherwise you have lots of other frameworks like PMP, and you have CAPM, IPMA, and at program level you have MSP from OGC, that is the Cabinet Office of UK, and then at portfolio level you have MOP, management of portfolio. And across these, when you are managing projects, programs, and portfolio, you would want to keep a track of how things are going, and if you can pass on knowledge or lessons across the levels. So there is another framework which is called P3O, which is project, program, and portfolio officers. So it takes care of not only projects but the program and portfolio as well. Now P3O doesn't mean there's a single support office or the management office which is taking care of all these three. It can be so, but ideally what we are looking at is combination of offices across projects, programs, and portfolio, but working towards one common goal. So that can be a way of looking at it. Or there is something called Center of Excellence, which basically is very critical for smaller organizations, wherein because the projects are temporary, now projects would be implemented and they would be decommissioned or disbanded. So what were the resources who qualified, which achieved a good amount of skill within by means of last project? So Center of Excellence has that knowledge base, the corporate strategies, the pool of resources, all these things which can be used for the new project which is going to be started within the organization, so on and so forth. So that's how portfolios, program, and projects would exist within an organization. And so that was the session. And in case you, I'll just leave this screen open so that if you want to make note down the contact details, you can do so. And what I'll do is I'll quickly go through the questions, whatever has been asked, and I'll see what how I can answer them. Keshav, can you hear me? Okay. Okay, there is a question, how would you manage the status of the project at a daily basis? Would you use any tools or daily meetings or any other terms? It's been asked by Devashish. Now, basically how you would manage the project at a daily basis is you are trying to define a process, but how the management would be. You would be using a lot of controls, project controls. Now, to give you an example of project controls, you have risk register, you have reports. For project manager, the reports that he'll be getting as checkpoint report from, some reports from the delivery team, which is going to update him with the current work package status or the delivery status of the product that is being delivered. Now, he'll use these reports and he'll use the risk log, issue log, and quality log to see where do we stand right now. He'll use the project plan, he'll use the stage plan to evaluate how we have been doing. Right now, definitely there can be tools which will help you reorganize all these things. Now, it's always better to have a dashboard wherein you can just click on a risk register and you can search and do things like that. So these tools would definitely ease the process. It would help you reduce the time that is invested in doing all these activities. There can be tools like email tools, there can be Microsoft Project. There are multiple tools. Yes, so tools would definitely be used within any project. It makes life very easy. And okay, there's one interesting question by Vivek. How can we handle a situation when the scope of the project has been extended in terms of cost, time, and resources? Now, there are two ways to look at it, two ways to look at your question. Now, as a project manager, I would have a defined scope. Now, within scope, how basically scope is defined as in a way, I'm pretty sure lots of people who have been into projects, they would know this. It's called MOSCO. So I'll just break it down to what it is. MOSCO is must have, should have, could have, would have. So this is how you define the scope of a project or a product. So if you're trying to deliver a product, you would definitely have some kind of authority that is delegated within which you have to deliver the scope. Now, if you see that that authority would be breached, you go for an advice, you raise an exception, and you seek advice that what is required. Now, based on the advice, either they'll ask that the scope is being amended. They'll tell you that the scope is being amended so that you can still achieve it within your authority level, or they'll ask you that, sorry, this is not a business reason anymore, so let's stop the project. So basically, it has to fall under your delegated authority. If it is beyond your delegated authority as a project manager, I think it is to be escalated to the directing level of the project, and they will take a decision on this based on discussion within the project board or the directing level of the project and the corporate organization or the program management. Now, they would do this just to make sure that the benefits which are being expected, and if it is part of a program, that means there are similar projects which are working at tandem to achieve benefits, common benefits or common goal, which will help achieve strategic objectives. So it needs to be kept a track of, and it definitely needs to be approved. The extension needs to be approved. So I hope I was able to answer that question, basically handle a situation. So you would have to raise it to the project board. I look for another interesting question. Okay. Whom you referring to, project owner or sponsor as? Now, project owner is basically, I wanted to simplify the terminology here. I didn't want to use the framework terminology, and people who are already aware about the framework Prince2, they might feel that I was using the wrong terminology, but I was using such a terminology just to keep it simple for many of you who are not at all aware of this framework. So project owner is basically the person who would be responsible for the project, who is responsible for the business case. The business case responsibility lies with the project owner, and he will fund the project. But the funds that he's getting from is basically either the customer, or it is going to be the corporate or program organization. So ideally they would become the sponsor. So that's the only difference that I wanted to make sure is passed on. Okay, there is a question in the organization arrangement where I'm not sure if this was intended to be product or a project. The question is, in the organization arrangement where the product owner is directly engaging with the users and suppliers and liaising with PM, is the product owner one of these stakeholders? Okay, I would say that it was intended to be project owner. So the project owner, the supplier and the user, they are all stakeholders within the project, and they essentially are internal stakeholders within the project. So and anybody else who has capability of influencing the project in some way, maybe positively or negatively, directly or indirectly, they become stakeholders to the project. So yes, the project owner is definitely, he is one of the primary stakeholders within the project. There is another question. In case if project manager has some problem with the scope work that user might be asking to do that is not defined in the scope of work, then how should he manage the situation? Very simple. If it is within the authority, and if it is basically, see, this is there was an agreement that this is what you are expecting and this is what I'll deliver. Now you are coming back to me and telling me that I'm also expecting this, which is not defined and which is not agreed upon, right? So you are requesting for a change. Now when you request for a change, it has to be handled via change control. So basically it will go to change authority. There's a question why a business case will be modified by a project team. Business case, if at all, can be modified. It would be the sponsor, no one else. I know what we are trying to convey, but the business case, it's a responsibility of the project owner. It is a project owner who is responsible for the business case. But because project manager is handling the project on a day-to-day basis, he will update the business case, but it doesn't mean that his update has become final. It needs to be approved by the directing level of the project. The change that has been made, it needs to be approved. A business case, I'll briefly explain two terms here. There is something called baseline, and there is something called a normal document, which is not a baseline right now, but it will become a baseline. Now, a baseline is something which has been approved, and any change to this particular product needs to go through a proper approval. So business case is a dynamic document, and it becomes a baseline once it has been approved by the directing level of the project. Now, once it has been baselined, any subsequent changes by the project manager needs to be approved by the directing level of the project, wherein project owner gets to have a look what is the update that has been done, and he will then approve that new business case, and it becomes a new version of the business case. So that's how it works. And it's not a mandate. I mean, basically, executive could say that this can be a customization. So, I have not gotten into details of Prince2, but yes, there is a principle. There is a principle of Prince2 which says tailoring to suit the project environment. Now, within your, if your corporate strategies restrict the project manager to do so, you can always have a customization wherein project manager is submitting his recommendation for the change in the business case, and the project owner will reflect those changes and release a new version for the business case. So it can be tailoring part of the framework, or it can be customization. And there's another question. If project gets out of control, plan control during execution, then what do? Close the project or complete the project even if you shoot the time and budget? Well, as it seems, Airbus A380 it did not stop. It still went on. So basically, what happens is, if you see that you are going, it's not about going out of control. It's about going out of your authority. So let's say if you have been given authority to spend only $15,000 on a project, and you see that you would have to spend about $30,000, including your tolerance. If the budget is not more than 25,000, I think you are overshooting the budget, and you are overshooting tolerance. So basically, you will escalate the issue or the exception to the directing level of the project. You will send your recommendation. You will say that although we are exceeding the tolerance, but if we do this project, the benefits are so much that that we will still have lots of benefits to cash upon, and this is worthwhile to do even if we are exceeding our tolerance level. Based on your recommendation, the project directing level of the project, if they decide that let's still go ahead with the project, you would do so. So basically, this is how it works. You have a tolerance level. If you foresee that you are going to exceed that in terms of time, budget, or any other aspect of the project, you would escalate it to the next higher. I think this question has been asked so many times. I'll just give an indicator to this. How Prince2 is different from other project management frameworks or standards? I think the same question or similar question was asked for one of the previous sessions wherein Ms. Sonali had given. So I think there are lots of answers in there. So probably I would request you to have a look at those answers. I think we have, for our project, we have overshot the timeline by 2 minutes. But all these questions, I would request offline, I would request TechGit team to send these questions to me. And what I'll do is, within the webinar page, I will post the question as well as, according to me, for the answers that I feel, I would post them over there as answers to these questions. All of the questions, I would do so. Or if you want to take an initiative, you can post the same question on the webinar page, and I'll definitely try to answer all the questions, definitely. And one more thing I wanted to mention here, I'll just share the page again. We'll be releasing, this is just for TechGit members, we'll be releasing a set of questions Within the scope of this project, sorry, webinar, I'm so sorry. We'll be releasing a set of questions within the scope of this webinar, the topics covered within this webinar, and we'll be posting it on TechGig, and we'll be posting it on our Facebook page. The link is there as the last on the bottom of the page, facebook.com/midas.global. We'll be posting a set of questions, and the answers to these questions, the people who reply, let's say, first of all, the most number of right answers. In case there are people who have answered it correctly and equally, then based on the time they submitted the answers, we'll be selecting 2 freshers and we'll be selecting 2 professionals. For the freshers, we'll give 100% discount, and that is, it's something like they can attend our training and certification program for Prince2 absolutely without any investment. And for professionals, we'll be giving them a 50% discount coupon. And that is only for TechGig members, people who have attended this webinar. So you can probably check back with TechGig and also maybe visit our Facebook page. We'll be releasing these questions between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. tomorrow, so that if you want, you can have a look at the recorded session once again. And we'll be posting this question between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. tomorrow. Right, so thank you so much for attending this session. I really wish to thank TechGig for providing this platform and enabling professionals across globe to share knowledge and giving back to the community. So this is really wonderful, and I have to talk to TechGig for this. So I'm really looking forward to many more such webinars and contributing back to the community. So it's really good. Thank you so much, everyone, for your presence, and thank you, TechGig.
Thanks, Mr. Shashank, for your informative session on Project Simplified. It was indeed an enlightening session. I would also like to thank our participants for the support in making this webinar a huge success. The recording of this webinar will be available on techgig.com by tomorrow. The next session in the Software Project Management webinar series is happening Friday, that is December 2nd at 3 p.m. Topic for the webinar is Project Risk Management. We'll be having Mr. Ravindra Prasad, Program Delivery Manager at Tesco HSC, as a guest speaker. To have a complete understanding of modern day's project management process, please do not miss the other sessions in this series. So see you all Friday at 3 p.m. Have a nice day. Thank you.